Today on Ag Etc., Brityne Rucker is at the Women Managing the Farm conference. She talks with Chad Hart, an Iowa State crop specialist. He gives us an update on trade deals with other countries around the world. Then Brityne heads to the 2020 Midwest Cover Crops Council's conference and talks with Paul Yaza from the University of Nebraska. Find out what the current interest is in picking cover crops and how you can improve soil structure. Then meet Colton Sutterby from Kansas State University, who is one of our young leaders in ag. And to wrap up, see how cattle producers are able to produce more pounds of meat efficiently. It's all coming up on Ag Etc. Stay tuned.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agaminkansas.com.
Kansas Farm Bureau has served farm families and rural Kansas for more than 100 years, and we're pleased to offer new healthcare coverage choices for Kansans in 2020 through Kansas Farm Bureau health plans. No matter what stage of life you're in, we'll have options that fit your lifestyle. Plus, our network of providers is one of the largest available throughout the state of Kansas and beyond. For more information, including the different plans available, or to get a quote, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
I dug trees by hand for years and years and years. In the process, I wore out my rotating cuff. But when I learned about this process, I thought if there's a way to get rid of this pain, then I wanted to do it. So we did it, and it worked. I'm not going to go out and dig trees with a shovel anymore, but I can do the things that I want to do now.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
I'm Brityne Rucker, and this is Ag AM in Kansas. I am at the 2020 Women Managing the Farm Conference in Manhattan, and with me now I have Chad Hart. And Chad, you presented at the conference on trade impacts on U.S. agriculture. Now, why do U.S. farmers need export markets?
Well, when you're looking here, I'm going to say export markets are where we can see the most growth. Because when you think about it, the world is our customer. And 96% of our potential customers live in another country. So when you're looking for population growth, income growth, and that leads to consumption growth, you tend to look at the rest of the world. That's where we can see larger growth than what we're experiencing here in the U.S.
Now, what is the current state of policy and trade agreements?
The current state right now is actually the end of 2019 and the beginning of 2020. We're building relationships back up again. So we've just signed an agreement with China, for example, the Phase 1 deal. But we've also done the USMCA, and we've also done a trade deal with Japan. And so we're starting to rebuild and rebolster some of those relationships that had been damaged over the past few years.
Right, and you showed examples and really graphs and figures at the conference.
Yes, we definitely talked about that. When you're looking at the potential for these various markets, for example, when you're looking at USMCA, you're talking about $40 billion worth of value each and every year that we trade with them. So they're very key trade partners. The deal with China, for example, has the potential to rearrange what our agricultural markets look like because of the values we're talking about possibly shipping to China over the next 5 years. So you have to look at these trade deals and see that they have the ability for tremendous impact on our agricultural markets.
Now, Chad, where does, one might ask, the coronavirus or African swine fever play into these markets?
Well, it definitely plays in. For example, the coronavirus, you can think of that as, okay, it's an illness, it's worse than pneumonia and the flu, but when you think about pneumonia and flu, they have an impact on our agricultural economy because they impact the general economy. When people get sick, they can't buy as much, they don't eat as much, and you see a slowdown there. The coronavirus is even worse than that because it's making it where we don't want to necessarily have contact. You know, we're canceling flights to China. Yeah. We're not trading as much with them because of concerns about spread of that illness. And so it does have that impact because it's slowing income growth, and slowing income growth slows agricultural demand.
Right. So what is the potential for future trade agreements with several trade partners?
Well, I think we've got some really good, like I say, some deals we've already made. Now we're looking to extend beyond those deals. So we're looking at the potential of signing one, for example, with the United Kingdom, another one with the European Union. We're working on several ones with Latin American countries. So we continue to build that bridge because when it comes right down to it, the reason U.S. agriculture is, if you will, so trade dependent is because we produce a lot of product and we produce it at a very inexpensive price, which means we're the perfect trade partner when it comes to worldwide agriculture.
Well, a big thank you to Chad Hart from Iowa State University for talking at the 2020 Women Managing the Farm Conference here in Manhattan. I'm Brityne Rucker, and this has been Ag AM in Kansas.
I'm Bob Swartz, and I've devoted the last 43 years to helping Kansans reach their retirement goals and to protect the family farm. At Bob Swartz Financial, we believe everyone should be able to live the retirement they've always dreamed of. Our team of professionals can help you create an efficient strategy using a variety of investment vehicles to help you address your financial needs and your concerns. Bob Swartz Financial values commitment and transparency.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
I had this horse. It was a good horse, except when the wind was blowing above 30 miles an hour. The wind was blowing about 35, 40, and I saddled him up, rode him out to the end of the lane, and I thought, well, he's doing pretty good. And about 6 jumps later, I was laying on the ground and thinking, boy, my shoulders sure hurt. I kept waiting, and it didn't get better, and so I went to orthopedic surgeon, and that showed that I had torn rotator cuff. He said, well, I have to do surgery. I thought, I farm and ranch by myself. This is not going to work out very well. I'd been sleeping in my recliner for about 2.5 years because it hurt too much to sleep in bed on my side. I'd heard about Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center on the radio. Gotten down there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and by 11:30 the procedure was all over. They just took some fat out of my side here and spun that down for about 45 minutes and then injected it in my shoulders, and I was on my way. It's something you don't hear about, but I thought it was worth a try, and I'm really pleased. It's really worked out well for me.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Wheat. Learn more at rediscoverwheat.org.
I'm Brityne Rucker, and this is Ag AM in Kansas. I am here at the 2020 Midwest Cover Crops Council Annual Conference, and with me now I have keynote speaker of the event, Paul Yaza from the University of Nebraska. Paul, you discussed selecting and managing cover crops. You focused on the current interest in cover crops, focusing more on improving soil structure.
It's true. When it comes to cover crops, they've been around for years as a grazing crop, and that's where producers add value to having a cover out there. The public is interested in reducing erosion, protecting water quality, reducing the sediment showing up in our waterways, and that's where the public has done a lot of funding of cover crops through various government programs, the soil and water conservation districts, and so on. But when it comes to what we're actually doing is I'm looking at improving the soil, feeding the soil system. It's the carbon dioxide in the air that's free. It's the sunlight that comes down and the earth is free. We harvest those by growing a plant, and that plant is putting root exudates into the soil, and those root exudates then are building our soil by feeding the soil microbes for us.
Now, you really went into kind of 3 main structures of managing water, intensifying the cropping system, and then feeding the soil system.
Correct. A lot of farmers think, well, when it comes to water, water is my limiting factor on crop production. Well, it comes down to what's the timing of the water. If I've got too much water in the soil profile, I'm not going to store my next rainfall event. Why not grow it into a cover crop rather than lose it to deep leaching or to runoff? And so I can use that to manage excess water. On the other side of the coin, if I don't get enough rainfall, but I have a lot of evaporation because my soil's not protected, I can grow something to keep the sun and wind off the soil surface and conserve water. And so again, that water management becomes an important player. The key is I'm going to grow something and not lose it.
And again, with timing of planting, it plays a huge role in the success of your cover crops.
Mother Nature's an opportunist. If I don't plant something, Mother Nature will have something growing. Even on my lawn, my garden, just like a farmer's field, if there's an empty space there, Mother Nature's going to grow something. It's usually what we call a weed, but it's cover as far as Mother Nature's concerned. Well, if I let the harvester leave the field and I've got soil there, let's plant a seed right away so Mother Nature doesn't have to.
And you really saw examples of side-by-side comparison, just waiting a little bit with those.
Oh, yes. It's even surprising. Depends a little bit on the year and when the rainfall is, but in a year with normal rainfall, even a week, Mother Nature can have weeds up and growing. And it was really odd in some of the fields I've done it in and seen it myself is I thought I had good weed control on my cash crop. And there's nothing out there. And then after my cash crop is harvested, all of a sudden there's weeds. And again, if I grow a cover, there's less weeds.
We'll have more with Paul Yaza after this short break.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we're glad to answer it and work with you.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com. Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
This is Ag AM in Kansas, and we're back with Paul Yaza at the 2020 Midwest Cover Crops Conference. Now, another thing that you really focused on is cover of your cover crop plays a huge role in collecting moisturing and the success of your cover crop once again.
It's true. The cover itself, again, is harvesting carbon dioxide and sunlight, and so I need to have as much ground cover as I can to protect that soil surface. Any sunlight hitting bare soil is wasted energy. It's going to heat the soil up. It's going to actually help kill some soil biology by heating the soil up and dry the soil out. So again, cover and a combination with residue to protect that soil makes a big difference. Now, as such, though, my covers are just enough to sort of catch all the sunlight. I'm not looking at raising tons of biomass to feed livestock. The livestock producer is going to manage his different. He's going to plant it different. He's going to plant different species, for instance, maybe a higher seeding rate. Expect it to use water and expect it to use some fertilizer because he's growing feed. That's going to be managed different than me feeding the soil.
And And you really saw some real life side-by-side comparison, really impactful pictures and data just off a temperature gauge of those.
That's true. You can walk out in the field. I use an infrared thermometer. It's just pointing at the soil, the little laser dot, and tells you that temperature right there. And when farmers start doing that, I use the example of grilling a steak. If that soil temperature is getting above 100, soil biology is going down. If it gets above 130, a steak is considered medium rare and safe to eat because you killed the bacteria on it. Well, it also killed my soil biology if my soil is getting that hot. But it's not uncommon to go out on a 100-degree day in the summer when the sun's beating down and you'll find 150-degree soil. And that's not good for the soil biology.
Right. Now, Paul, you have 15-plus years of experience in this field, and you've seen a lot of change, I can imagine. And one of the big changes in cover crop advancement is the equipment.
It's true, though. When it comes to cover crops, the early days, the cover crop was a single crop seeded into no competition at all. And it was maybe a cash crop replacement or is seeded after the harvest of a cash crop. The equipment evolving now is, well, we can seed the cover crop sooner before cash crop harvest. That gives us more growth in the cover to give us more of an overlap between the cash crop and the cover crop. So now I'm getting some high clearance equipment to go into a growing crop, get the seed to the ground. Or it's going to be early in the season as a companion crop. And again, I'm going to protect my cash crop, not plow it out of the field while I'm planting my cover crop. And again, too many farmers say, I'm not going to plant the cover, it's going to damage my cash crop. Well, properly managed, I can do it.
Right. And going back to your 15-plus years of experience, what advancement besides equipment have you seen the evolution of cover crops come about?
Well, sort of the main thing is the acceptance. When it comes to traditionally, we are a single crop in a single year. And a lot of our government programs, our farm programs, encourage that. Back up 50 years, 75 years, some of our parents and grandparents were using crop rotation diversity. The farm programs sort of went away from that. When it comes to cover crops, it gives us the opportunity to bring that crop rotation diversity back. And so we need to do that when we think about feeding the soil system.
And even with, crops getting hailed out, you really encourage producers there to take advantage of cover crops.
True. When it comes to hail or a drought or a flood or anything that's going to terminate my cash crop, I've got some sunlight and carbon dioxide that's wasted because I'm not harvesting it. I have some maybe applied fertilizer already on my field. Say, for instance, if I had corn planted and fully fertilized and then hail hits, that fertilizer is going to go somewhere. And unfortunately, it might be in the surface runoff or could be in deep leaching to our groundwater. Why not grow it into a biological form?
Right. And Paul, last question, and maybe loaded question. Where do you see the future of cover crops headed?
I think the cover crops are going to be what we consider in some circles farming in nature's image. Mother Nature doesn't grow a single species in one place. There's always diverse species growing in a mix. Now, the diverse mix is what we're going to do with cover crops. We're going to do a companion crop with, say, a legume growing under our corn to fix some nitrogen for the corn, but more important, feed the soil system itself. We're going to be looking at covers as that extra species to help the system out.
Well, very good. A big thank you to Paul Yaza for being at the conference today. I'm Brityne Rucker, and this has been Ag AM in Kansas.
Kansas Farm Bureau has served farm families in rural Kansas for more than 100 years. We're pleased to offer new healthcare coverage choices for Kansans in 2020 through Kansas Farm Bureau Health Plans. No matter what stage of life you're in, we'll have options that fit your lifestyle. Plus, our network of providers is one of the largest available throughout the state of Kansas and beyond. For more information, including the different plans available, or to get a quote, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
At Farm Credit, we partner with America's farmers who work hard each and every day to grow the food that we all enjoy. It's not an easy task, but it's an important one. Farm Credit is proud to work with farmers and ranchers, lending support in rural America.
This segment brought to you by Farm Credit Associations of Kansas, lending support to rural America, and by American Ag Service, your DuPont Pioneer dealer.
I'm Brityne Rucker, and this is Ag AM in Kansas. I am at the Young Farmers and Ranchers Conference, and with me now is Colton Sutterby from K-State, and you just won the Quiz Bowl.
Yes, ma'am.
What experiences led you up to this moment?
So I've been competing in the past 2 years. This is my third year competing, and we've won it every single year, even the year before I started competing. So we wanted to carry on the tradition. So to get ready, we introduced it to them last fall, put that bug in their ear, and then we started practicing once we got back from winter break, and you see what happened now. So we're glad to be here.
Yeah. So K-State really did well as both of your teams were in the finals.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we had a little trouble getting enough members, but once we did, obviously it turned out great.
Now, did you join the Collegiate Farm Bureau freshman year?
Yes, ma'am. My family was never in Kansas Farm Bureau, but I talked with several members that were part of it at the College of Ag Watermelon Feed, and thought it'd be a great opportunity to broaden my network of connections and learn more about the Farm Bureau as a whole. So I joined as a freshman and kept continuing. Now I've been an officer for the past 2 years.
Now, really, what is the benefit of being a part of something like Young Farmers and Ranchers?
You learn about all sides of agriculture, especially the policy and legislator side. That side I've never been exposed to, really. I've just been around agronomy or crops, animals, whatever, but not the policy and law. So that's a huge benefit for me, along with the connections you make.
Well, very good. Well, once again, congratulations, Colton.
Thank you.
And this is Ag AM in Kansas, and I'm Brityne Rucker.
At Farm Credit, we partner with America's farmers who work hard each and every day to grow the food that we all enjoy. It's not an easy task, but it's an important one. Farm Credit is proud to work with farmers and ranchers, lending support in rural America.
Welcome to the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in my hometown of Oakley, Kansas. We're the front door of Western Kansas, located on 3 main highways, I-70, US 83, and US 40. And all those roads lead to history, beautiful scenery, and adventure, no matter which direction you go. We now have an IHOP. That brand that you've trusted up and down the road in all your travels is staffed with local folks, real people, just like you and me, and we're waiting on you to join us. So for fun, adventure, fuel up, fuel your body, and let's have some fun.
Okay, looks like it's time for our tour. Welcome to the Fort Wallace Museum. Here at the museum, you're going to find some really interesting stuff, like our replica stagecoach from the Butterfield Overland Dispatch. We've got facades from the fort buildings. We've got an 1870s flag. There's a plesiosaur that was discovered locally. We've got the Ray pump organ collection. We're a little bitty place with a great big story, and we'd love to have you.
In 1821, a trade route was opened from Missouri in the United States across prairies and mountains to Mexico. In 2021, we will mark 200 years of epic conflicts and grand adventures, larger-than-life personalities, and sweeping landscapes. Join us on an historic journey. The Santa Fe Trail lives on.
Find us on social media or santafetrail.org.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
This segment brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook. Let us help feed your family.
A longtime South Dakota feed yard nutritionist says that growing more pounds of beef efficiently makes sense for everyone, from ranch to consumer.
Implants are
probably the longest running, most consistent tool that we have. They've been around for 50 years and the track record is clean. They are safe. To use them effectively and add value to the system, we just want to make sure that we have the genetics of the animal, their growth potential, the energy that's available in their diet, their health, all coordinated so that we can make the most out of the opportunity.
Producers have to consider all those factors and management plans when choosing from available products.
The implants come with a half dozen different levels of potencies. If you have cattle that are only going to be gaining 2 1/4 to 2 1/2 a day, you want to be at a moderate potency implant. If they are big framed cattle that are going to be growing at that growth rate, you might back up to a low potency implant because there's enough growth and frame potential in the genetic makeup of the cattle to make up for the difference in the implants.
So many cattle have superior growth genetics today. Their managers might wonder if they even need implants to further boost those gains. Consider any pen of non-implanted steers.
Cattle will require just as many days as an implanted steer to be finished, but they'll weigh 100 pounds less. And the feed bill will be almost as big. The higher the growth potential is, the bigger that difference in weight would have been at the end.
Consumers might see or hear negative messages about growth implants, but they do have beneficial effects for people who enjoy beef.
The benefit to the consumer is we can provide beef quality beef more cost effectively than if we don't have the implants. If you take away the implants, you have to have more cows to provide the same amount of beef. If we don't have those tools available, steers need to run on grass longer. While steers are running on grass, they would produce more methane. That would be considered less desirable, and there's less grass in the world. And we could be doing something more productive like running cows on that grass, generating more food for them, and keeping the carbon footprint per serving of beef smaller by using these tools the way we can.
I'm Bob Cervera.
Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agaminkansas.com.
At Farm Credit, we partner with America's farmers who work hard each and every day to grow the food that we all enjoy. It's not an easy task, but it's an important one. Farm Credit is proud to work with farmers and ranchers, lending support in rural America.
My name's Karen Cope, and I have multiple sclerosis. When you have MS, on the outside you look great, but you know what's really going on in the inside is chronic body pain, chronic fatigue. And there's lots of days that I'd wake up and say, oh, please God, help me get through this day. You know, after stem cells, Chloe, my youngest daughter, she was asked by my father-in-law, how's your mom doing? And Chloe said, Grandpa, I've never had a mom like this before, because she was 8 when I was diagnosed, and she really had no other memory of me but being sick. It's really the simple things that we do as a family, like play cards and to be able to win at cards. You know, they all laugh because I used to repeat myself and say, what hand are we on? You know, where are we at? And it's just been really a true blessing from God, and we're really thankful.